All right, thanks, Paul. Good afternoon, everybody. A couple of things here before I get going, talking about the game last week and this week's upcoming challenge against Wisconsin. We want to lift our thoughts and prayers up to Matt McPherson and his family. Sadly, his father, Butch, passed away this morning. A great high school coach, a great developer of men, and Butch is a frequent visitor to our program and very close with our program, our staff, and we just want to lift up Matt and his entire family, on the passing of his father, Butch, and just so sad for him. And we'll work through that this week and try to lift up the McPherson family to the best of our ability. On a positive, obviously incredibly positive note, last Wednesday was a very special day for our program with the announcement and the revealing of the new Ryan Field. Just really thankful, and words can't describe how thankful we are collectively as a program to the Ryan family for their not only amazing, unprecedented generosity to our entire campus, community, academically, and scholarship and research, but obviously then to the commitment to the new and enhanced Ryan Field, obviously President Scheller, trustees for their amazing support, and then look forward to working with our great community here in Evanston and making this just a spectacular community project that will be second to none for Evanston and the greater Chicagoland community, to bring our community together and make this something that we're all incredibly proud of and are able to use more than just 7 days a year. So exciting to say the least. To say the least, I'll leave it at that. Excited for homecoming here this week. 10th year anniversary of the 2012 Gator Bowl team. Those guys, got the quote unquote monkey off our back, getting that big bowl win down there in Jacksonville. Special group. Look forward to having a chance to see as many of the guys that are able to make it back here this weekend. And then obviously that coupled with homecoming always makes it special to get guys back and around, and our alums back to be a part of a football Saturday here in Evanston. Our players of the week from last week: offensively, Peter Skronsky, another consistent game by Peter. Defensively, Cam Mitchell, just all over the field, made a ton of plays. We had him at the point of attack 21 times. I think that's the most I've ever seen a corner at the point of attack in my 40 years around the game. Our pride shield, we weren't very good early in the year, but we collectively thought, I should say, that Mueller, O'Rourke, and McLaughlin were really solid in some inclement weather that we needed to be. Big playmaker offensively, Jacob Gill. Defensively, Bryce Gallagher. He accounted for 3 turnovers in that game. Jacob, obviously, with the explosive catch and the touchdown. Practice players, Blake Van Buren on offense. Defensively was Tyler Haskins, and special teams was Jake Arthurs. We got, 2 teams that'll be fighting for a win this weekend. I just obviously want to express my thoughts to Paul Christ and his family, an outstanding coach here in the Big Ten for a number of years, not only as a head coach, but then also as a coordinator, a very good friend of mine and someone I have the utmost respect for. Stacy and Robin are good friends. I've got a chance to spend a lot of time with them through our partnership with Under Armour and different Big Ten events. And we wish them nothing but the best of luck in their future endeavors. And, it's not always that you get probably your dream job the way that Coach Leonard has this opportunity. And I know a little something about that. Obviously different circumstances, and I'm not comparing them at all to be the same, but it's always challenging to take over a role in some adverse times. And Coach Leonard will do a phenomenal job. He was a phenomenal player at Wisconsin in the league, and he's been outstanding since he's taken over their defense. And just almost respect for Coach Leonard also. I mean, he's got a lot of ties to our staff and relationships, and we've obviously competed against him a lot. So big game for both teams, and looking forward to the opportunity and the challenge here in Ryan Field this Saturday. So with that, I'll answer any and all the questions. Thanks again for covering us.
Reminder, if you have a question, please message Athletic Communications in the chat. First question for John Vogt.
Yeah, hi, Coach. Just speaking on that bit of a rivalry with Wisconsin, closest Big Ten team geographically, a lot of really exciting games here at Ryan Field. Can you just speak a bit about that tradition and especially what that means on a day like homecoming?
Well, I think we've been fortunate. Again, I think you go back, I go through my notes getting ready for each week and, get a number of years worth of notes. It just seems like whoever wins the turnover battle in this game usually puts themselves in the best position to win the game. It's typically pretty hard fought. There's been a couple of times we've ended up, maybe a little lopsided in a defeat, and same thing with them. But, typically this is a 1 or 2 score game that goes all the way down to the wire. Again, going back to when I played and all the way through as an assistant, now as the head coach, I just think a great level, an incredibly high level of respect between our two programs and our two institutions. And, it's always hard to compete against the Badgers, and, a game that I think is always hard fought and always tough and always physical. So I'll anticipate a similar one here this Saturday.
Louis Vicaire.
Hey Fitz, happy Monday. You
too.
already talked about Paul Chris, but what was your reaction to getting the news? And then how does it affect preparation? Obviously, it just happened. How much can a team change by Saturday, and what do you do to prepare for it?
Yeah, Louis, I was shocked. I'll just leave it at that. But I work here and I've got 99 problems and theirs are not one, right? So our focus has got to be on us, because we've got to capitalize on opportunities that we had like Saturday, and we obviously didn't get it done. So, number one, you got to trust what you see and prepare for what you've seen, not only this year on tape, but then we go back through our historical studies, getting ready for our opponent in all 3 phases. And then I told the staff, I'll tell them again in the squad tomorrow, you have to approach any type of twists and changes like this a little bit like the opener, where you anticipate just having to adjust in game. If there's things that maybe we didn't, scout, or things that weren't on tape, and now all of a sudden there's a little new wrinkle or a little nuance, and then just adjust with poise and make the proper corrections and adjustments, and then, learn as the game goes on. But, you can hang your hat on physicality and toughness and downhill run and play action pass and a mixture of 4 down and an odd package and a really sophisticated pressure package and multiple coverages and really sound kick game and, really talented players that are tough and physical. They have great pride in the Wisconsin program. So we will expect their best game of the year.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bradley Locker.
Hey, Coach. Last year, you guys obviously went up to Madison, and it did not go the way that I'm sure you had envisioned. Do you kind of use that game as motivation and fuel at all, or do you like to think back to the overall rivalry and, as you said, how close the games have been?
Yeah, different team, right? We're a different team. They're a different team. You obviously will always talk about things that are in history, so you hope they don't have them be repeated. But you definitely, stay focused on what we need to do and what we need to improve on.
John Riker.
Hey, Coach. John Riker, Daily Northwestern. A huge play this weekend from Bryce Gallagher on that interception. What have you seen in his growth as both a playmaker and a leader this season?
Yeah, John, how are you, buddy? I would say a couple things. Number one, it was great pressure by Cam and by Ryan, and a really good, again, a legal quarterback hit. That are some of the things that we've talked about, just being really smart football players. And I thought Ryan was really smart on that play that impacted the throw, and a great catch by Bryce. I was a little perplexed on why the ruling was stands is called. I don't know what the difference between stands and confirmed is now after watching that play. There were a couple of little of these on Saturday. That was one of them, but I thought there was indisputable video evidence of a ridiculous catch. But he's playing great. He's a heck of a football player. He's a great leader for our defense and our team. Just an absolutely ridiculous family that I'm privileged to have. 2 of the Gallagher boys that I've had the privilege to coach, 2 Gallagher men. I mean, it's a special guy, and had a great game, man. The fumble recovery, he caused another fumble. I mean, single-handedly being a part of 3 turnovers is what we need from a guy who's a captain, our Mike Backer, and he's been spectacular, and we're going to need him here as we move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Banks. Paul, I think you're muted.
Good morning, Pat. How are you?
Paul, I'm awesome. How's the South Side?
It's great. It's great. It's great as always. Even though the White Sox had a rough year.
It's all right.
Yeah, I also was pretty shocked when I heard the news about Paul Chryst being fired. And just what kind of legacy does he leave behind in terms of, Wisconsin is always kind of this identity that they've had.
Well, I think he won over 70% of his games and, competed for multiple Big Ten championships and won bowl games. As a peer, someone that has had great respect for that program, you tip your today, last night as coaching, I think fraternity, we just tipped our hat to him. You know what I mean? It's one of those where you just respect the heck out of him as a person first. It's one thing to be successful on the field, but we do a lot of Big Ten and national meetings. And, one of the perspectives I always enjoyed were Paul's perspectives on our game, on how to treat and coach players, on where we should go and how we should make our game better and make it better for the players. I just thought Paul always had an amazing perspective, almost somewhat at times in the room, a voice of reason and I think a firm grasp of reality. And was just a great person to be around. And again, never worked with him, but someone that I consider a friend and someone that I have a huge amount of respect for in our profession and as a person. Obviously a great husband and a great father. And last night won't define him as a coach or anything. It's just part of our business. And I'm sure he'll be heavily sought after, to be added to other people's staffs. There's no doubt about that. He's a hell of a coach.
Do you believe there's anything such as a new manager bounce, a new coach bounce? It's a cliche they throw around in sports.
Say that again one more time. You broke up just a little bit.
There's a cliche in sports that a team gets like a bounce, or they get energized, or they get like better for a little while when a new coach takes over. Do you believe in that, or?
Well, I hope not.
Thanks.
I'll leave it at that.
Lawrence Price.
Hey, Coach, Lawrence Price, Daily Northwestern. With it, like you said, a rivalry and homecoming week. Can you talk about how impactful just a rivalry does in the trajectory of a game, how it can go anybody's way, but then also how homecoming, impacts Northwestern and just gives them that type of energy? Yeah,
Lawrence, great to see you here this afternoon. Well, first of all, our students have been awesome all year, and I want to give a special shout out to our Wild Side. That exec board, I was there when we revved them up in Welsh Ryan Arena, the freshmen, when I had a chance to get after them a little bit to teach them how to sing the fight song, and they responded. But I just can't thank our Wild Side enough. We didn't have that back when I was in school. I just went in the student section and heckled people. So, it's great to see that. And that group of students is awesome. I saw at the soccer game the other day and out of volleyball. Just really thankful. That's all I'll say. And you guys have been probably a part of the times when I've addressed you all. I only get to throw 7 parties for you. So if you don't show up, it's your fault, not mine. Right. And, college goes fast. So enjoy the heck out of it. And it seems like our students have, and we're going to need them Saturday. But, for us being an international school, I think homecoming is just a little bit more because you're bringing people, maybe they're one time back to campus, a little different than maybe your typical, state schools where a lot of the alums still live kind of within an hour or 2-hour radius. When you're an international school, it might be the only time people come back. So I just think it adds a little bit more juice. It obviously adds a lot more energy to campus during the week, especially kind of ramping up Wednesday, Thursday through Saturday night. I also want to give a shout out to my 25th reunion committee partners. I've done nothing. They've done everything. And I've been an honor to be a part of their committee, and look forward to them having a great time. I'll do my part, hopefully, here to make it be a great weekend for them and everybody else celebrating their reunions. But it's a special weekend on every, I don't care if it's, again, I always say this, but like when I played for Lowland Park Pioneers, we had homecoming, and Sandburg, we had homecoming, and, there's something special about homecoming. It just brings a community together, maybe in a different way than it does any other week. And you got to use that as fuel, right? Not as a distraction. And, I think I've got this thing dialed in pretty well on that. But, I think it's always special to get as many of our alums back.
Another one for John Riker.
Hello again, Coach. Going back to the stadium announcement, you've seen obviously the impact of Ryan Fieldhouse on this football program the last couple of years. What do you kind of anticipate some of the benefits of this new Ryan Field being for this football program?
Everything, absolutely everything. You know, this will be the first time that we'll have a home field advantage in the history of Wildcat football. And the decision-making that's been made as far as architecture, the size, the scope, the proximity to the field, you know, everything that goes into the decision-making is to not only make this an absolutely incredible opportunity for the city of Evanston, every one of our community members, our students, rec sports. I mean, this is a commitment to making Ashland and Central a hub for Evanston, a hub for our campus community, not just for 7 days in the fall, right? And so, you know, I'm incredibly excited for that as someone who's been now here. I mean, gosh, it's 25, pretty much nonstop for a long time, right? You know, since the early 90s, a couple little cups of coffee at other places, but this community needs it. You know, our campus needs this. And as a football program, I couldn't be more excited to get a home field advantage. I mean, our players earn that; they deserve that, and to be able to put the size of the scope and where we're going with this in line with that, I think shows the priorities of where we want to go with the program, and we need to get that. I mean, we just played. It doesn't matter if it's 35,000 or 106,000. If 35,000 is done right, it will be the loudest, raucous, best home field advantage in college football. And this will become the new, I think this is going to set the precedent for future stadiums and future community engagement opportunities in college towns. And I'm just excited to be a very, very small part of it. And none of this would happen without amazing institutional support and amazing, amazing generosity and just relentless support by the Ryan family. And look forward to partnering with Evanston and making this really special for everybody.
And you talked a little bit about the home field advantage it provides, but from a recruiting standpoint, how can that really elevate kind of the pitch that you're bringing to these football players over the next seasons?
Yeah, pretty consistent in the pitch, but more importantly, I think it shows the commitment, right? I mean, this is, I see Mr. Cat on here. He's been doing games since we wore leather helmets, but you know, it's been a long time now coming that this, you know, that Ryan Field, you know, needs to be brought to where we need to be as a program. And it doesn't happen without relentless support and generosity. And I cannot say it. Thank you enough to the Ryan family. And there'll be more families as we move forward, right? And to have this all be privately funded, I think is a testament to where our priorities are. It's not going to impact scholarship or research or academics at all. This is a commitment to improve the Evanston community, our students' experience, and to improve the obviously home field advantage for our football program in lacrosse and other opportunities for other teams too that, you know, will be in their 365. So this is a big deal. And it's more than the micro of a win or a loss. This is a macro game changer for the program, just like Ryan Fieldhouse has been for us in Walter Athletic Center.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
John Vogue.
Yeah, again, Coach, you mentioned the 10th anniversary of the 2012 team at the top. Can you just talk a little bit more about kind of the memories that brings up and just what that bowl game win meant for this program?
Well, it was a long time coming. You know, I'll probably get pretty emotional when I see those guys here at the end of the week. You know, that group and I, we went through a lot. I mean, and our coaches, we got a lot of coaches that are still here that were a part of that. And it was took everybody to get to that point. You know, we had some excruciating, challenging losses in bowl season leading up to that. And, you know, I thought we put together a great plan. I thought the guys really adjusted well. It was a hot day, humid day down there in Jacksonville. And who thought that, you know, Trevor Simeon would have a rushing touchdown? You know, how about that? But there was some Kane played amazing. Tyrus played unbelievable. You know, Quentin had huge plays. Tyler Scott, the list goes. I mean, Carp I think Carp was the MVP and made plays all over the place. Nick had a big pick. It's all flooding back right now. I mean, it was just, it was a great day. And I had little kids at that point. So it was pretty cool to celebrate that with them. So they were 8, 6, and 4. Now they're 18, 16, and soon to be 18, soon to be 14 and 16. So cool stuff, man. Great memories. Great team, great players.
One last question for Lawrence Price.
Coach, Illinois' defense stopped Wisconsin in the rush game, only 2 yards on the ground. How much did you see from that game, or just watching film from that, and what takeaways did you have from that you want, your defense, or saw from them against Penn State and want them to use this weekend?
Yeah, Lawrence. Well, tale of two halves, right? That first half was, really close at halftime with the Illini and the Badgers, and it kind of flipped, there those first two possessions a little bit with, the touchdown and then the kickoff fumble that then led to points. I think number one, I think Illinois is really good on defense. I think their front is stout, and I think their back end is as good as maybe anybody in the Big Ten. I mean, they were very physical on the outside that allowed them to, really crowd the box. I thought they got off blocks really well, tackled very well. And then it became a multi-score game. And it was kind of like some of our games where now you got to go throw it, right? And so the numbers are a little bit misleading because of maybe the score of the game. But I thought Illinois played really, really, really well on defense after watching that tape. Fundamentally, gap fits, tackling, and then, I thought their back end, played outstanding coverage, really tight, really physical. I thought it was really physical game on both sides. And, it seemed like Wisconsin was just one block and one broken tackle away from a big play. And then they had a couple of down the field throws that they just missed a little bit. But I think, like some of our games, turnovers played a key role in the outcome. All right, before I jump off, just again, we got so many great alums in Southwest Florida. I get the privilege to speak to the great alumni club of Southwest Florida, and in particular in Naples. And everyone knows that that's, where our family spends as much free time as we can possibly do together. And so many families, too many to mention. Dan and Susan Jones, who I get the privilege to be, the head coach in their honor and their family's honor, are one of our close Naples families, the Ryans, the Haywards. The list goes, I could keep going with names that are incredible supporters, incredible alums, and to all the families and all those that were affected by the hurricane. Our thoughts and prayers are with them, and hope that there's a ton of great rescues, hopefully a ton of smiles and positivity, because that's a special place in our country, a great group of people, and our thoughts and prayers with them as they try to recover from the hurricane. So appreciate everybody's time and look forward to homecoming this weekend. Thanks a lot, Go Cats.
Posey, if you have a question, please message Athletic Communications in the chat and we'll get you added to the queue. First question for John Riker.
Hey, Vince, John Ricker, Daily Northwestern. A lot goes into a successful running game. From your perspective on the offensive line, what do you feel like you guys need to prioritize to get that going?
Yeah. So like obviously a successful run game is 11 hats on 11 hats, just trying to do everything for everyone. But I really think we got to focus on our fundamentals and technique going into week after week. So I think that's gonna be a big focus coming into this week.
Thank you.
Of course.
Next question for John Vogue.
Yeah, hi Vince. You've had a long journey to Northwestern. Can you just talk a little bit about that and the process that brought you here?
Yeah. So I started at Temple University as a walk-on back in 2016. Played there for 5 seasons, where I then ended up transferring and went out to Colorado State, where a few of my other former Temple players had ended up transferring to. And then after this past season with the coaching change, ended up in the transfer portal for last season after medically redshirting last year. And was fortunate enough to get in contact with Coach Anderson and Coach Fitz, came on a visit and just knew this was definitely going to be the place for me, and beyond excited that it ended up being that way. So really happy to be here and be around a great group of guys and great coaches.
Yeah, and just a quick follow-up to that milestone for you this last week, 40th career start. How do you feel like you've brought that kind of veteran experience and leadership to this offensive line?
I just like to communicate with our guys, kind of talk about things I've seen defensive linemen do in the past, things that they've seen. So, I mean, as much as I am a veteran guy, all the guys in the offensive line have seen different things from different games. So we just communicate back and forth and just talk about, kind of our experiences and how that can help us in the future.
Louis Vicaire.
Hey, Vince, you said you knew Northwestern was definitely the place for me. How come?
When I first got here on my visit, just meeting all the players and all the guys, I just really clicked with them. They were all very welcoming, and I feel like they'll end up being lifelong friends of mine just because of how we connect on and off the field. So I think that's really what played into my decision, as well as academically, just the school. And obviously, as we know, it's prestige, and that was a huge highlight for me in my decision-making process.
Thank you.
No problem.
Another one for John Vogue.
Yeah, I mean, Peter Skoronsky's made a lot of headlines. You've played with a lot of different linemen through your career. What does he bring to the table, and what's it like to line up next to him?
It's an awesome experience to be able to line up next to him, because he's just a down-to-earth, humble guy. He just comes in, puts his head down. He's working every day in and out. Coming in, see him in the film room at random times in the day, when he has a free moment. So it's really good to see. And I think it's helped me learn a little bit myself, even though doing college football for so long, seeing that work ethic kind of, gives me a little fire to want to do more and want to do better. So it's an awesome experience to play next to him.
All right. Thank you, Vince.
Thank you, guys.
And message athletic communications in the chat, and we'll get you added to the queue. First question for John Riker.
Hey, Garnett. Thank you for chatting with us today. First question is, how has Bryce Gallagher made an impact on your own growth and acclimation to the starting lineup?
He's a real leader. It's good to see him bring the guys together when we having a hard time on defense, or he needs to pick us up to get us going, get us motivated. And before every time we go out on the field, he break it down. So being under his wing and him helping me come along, in the starting lineup and, playing as many snaps as I do, it's been a real privilege, playing alongside of him.
And coming off such a big game for him at Penn State, what does his presence and playmaking ability at the Mike linebacker spot do to lift this defense as a whole?
Yeah, we depend on him a lot. He's our middle linebacker for a reason. We trust him, to make any type of call that we need. We trust him to fly around and make plays. So our trust is, completely behind him 100%. So him making plays is, that's what we expect of him, and that's what we need going forward.
Thank you.
Question for John Vogue.
Yeah, hi. 5 turnovers for the defense this weekend. Obviously, the weather a factor, but what goes into a performance like that for you guys, and how much pride does that give you going into next week?
Yeah, we're really confident going into, this upcoming week. We preach it every day to take away the ball. We preach it in practice, punching at the ball, getting it out in the air, interception. Any way we can get the ball, that's what we try to do. So, it's real and rooted into our defense, and we just got to keep doing it as much as we can to help the offense, and to keep life on the sideline.
Question for Lawrence Price.
Hey, Garnett, Lawrence Price, Daily Northwestern. You also had a big game against Penn State, 2 forced fumbles. Can you talk about what this season has been like for you and the development that you've seen from yourself?
Yeah, I think I've, come a long way from the beginning of the season. It's not easy, trying to play behind someone as many years as I have, going back to last year. But I think it's helped me grow a lot because it's a learning experience. Every year is a learning experience. Every game is a learning experience. So I'm just trying to go out there and make every play that I can for my teammates and, be confident in who I am and who I am as a player to help us win games and to be the best player that I can out there on the field.
John Vogue.
Yeah, again, a lot of young DBs getting in the mix, a lot of playing time for them. How has that next man up mentality really powered this group this year?
The next man up mentality is critical because you never know what could happen. You always got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And, we talk up our young guys and we talk up the guys that don't have as much experience, that they have to be ready when their number is called. So I think prep is very important for us because as you've seen, we have had guys go down. So, the next man up mentality is very critical for us as a corner room, a DB room, but also us as a collective team.
And then just on top of that, getting Cam back last week, obviously huge in that game. How big of a boost does he add getting back in the lineup?
Yeah, he's a security blanket into the boundary. We know he gonna come up and make plays. We know he gonna cover when he need to. And he's always around the ball. He gonna fly around, make plays. So, him being out there and getting him back is definitely what the defense needs to keep going forward and, be the best collective group that we can.
John Riker.
Hello again. With Wisconsin, obviously, wild past 24 hours for them. How are you approaching it at all differently with the new head coach in place there? And just how are you guys approaching overall as a team, knowing a team of Wisconsin stature, but a new coach?
Yeah, we haven't really focused on them. We really focusing on us. They do have a new coaching change, or that whole situation, but that doesn't really affect us. We got to focus on how we can get better throughout the week and how our preparation will help us win this game. So, we focusing on us, and we're gonna have to come with everything we got to, go win this game.
All right. Thanks, Garnett.
Appreciate it.